So I'm sitting here waiting on this, and I already had some notes to look this up and just how ridiculous this has gotten to the point that I need. I mean, I get common sense isn't common, but we live in an age where we literally have computers practically in our hands. I mean, I remember when cell phones first came out, we didn't even have cameras on them yet. Okay? So I'm just grabbing one of these here. So here's one. This girl does a video of this, and just how ridiculous it is. You're telling me Margot Robbie didn't receive an Oscar nomination for playing freaking Barbie, but Ryan Gosling got a nomination for playing Ken. Barbie was a film about how women struggle with having to work 10 times harder than men. That depends on which way you look at it. If you go with the Barbie side, yeah, but apparently if you go to the real world, it's the other way around, I guess. Having to be prettier, skinnier, more palatable for social norms, and the woman who worked her butt off to illustrate the struggle didn't receive a nomination for her performance, but the man who danced around and made silly little jokes did. Okay, let's see if I can find another one. Here we go. So we got Hillary Clinton, Greta and Margot. While looking Sting to win the box office, but not take home the gold, your millions of fans love you. You're both so much more than Ken enough. And with these things being said, and there's tons out there, my first thing is, when did we care about the Oscars again? Aren't there ratings plummeting every year? And it's funny because when these people are saying these kind of things, what you're basically stating is that he wasn't talented enough to get one. Because a lot of the people that are complaining, they're like, well, including Ryan Gosling, they're like, well, he should have, why didn't she get it, but he should have? Or why didn't, he get it like she should have? And I'm like, because he did. And let's be frank, this isn't Margot Robbie's best performance. Ryan Gosling was a standout in the movie. Most people that talk about the movie, I noticed when I'm talking to them, they talk about Ken. Not because Ken's a man, it was because of just the ridiculousness of Ken. And what he, his journey too, which should be appreciated, but of course it's not. Because it has to be an Oscar snub, right? Even though it's very funny because let's just go through the Oscars that they are getting nominated for. Best Supporting Actor, which is Ryan. Best Supporting Actress, America Ferrera, but for some reason it's not good enough that a woman is also getting support, which is really just because of her speech, which admittedly I think America Ferrera has done better roles too. Real Women Have Curves is when I first remember her, and I was like, wow, this girl's awesome. So from then on, I've always been a fan of hers, but I can definitely say I think she's done better roles. But because of the rant that she went off with about women's plights, because, apparently men don't have them. That's why, but sure, she got it. And just to say, for example, I think she should have gotten more recognition for Superstore. I thought she was amazing in that. But they got one, or they're getting a nomination for Best Costume Design, which, yeah, they totally deserve it. Those costumes were great. Best Production Design, they totally deserve it. The design, even in my review, I was like, the Barbie world was wow. That was just a wow, okay? Best Original Song, I think they got that twice or something. And it's funny because people are saying Greta should have gotten nominated for the Best Director, even though there are other women or another woman in there that did, but she's still getting an Oscar nomination for Best Screenplay, if I remember correctly. So she's still up for an Oscar, but because she's not up for the Best Director, even though I can clearly state Lady Bird was a much better directed film. I can easily say that, but for some reason, not good enough. So she has to also be the director too, even though the screenplay, she's getting that. And they're also up for Best Picture. Because I think it's Justine Trier is nominated too. Because they're like, there's no women being nominated, only the men. So isn't she a woman? And also, if they win Best Picture, Margot Robbie gets an Oscar simply because she's a producer on there. And she's the one who pushed it and told the studio it's $1 billion idea. So she still would be recognized for her hard work. It's just the acting wasn't there. So, okay. But why are we complaining with this fake, oh, it's the patriarchy. It's the patriarchy. It's this fake patriarchy. It's always the patriarchy. How about down with the matriarchy? Funny you don't hear that one, because it seems like you all are complaining because you can't get everything you want, even though I just named like several nominations, and 3 of the people who, if any of those categories win, are going to be women, but patriarchy. Also, too, you shouldn't have every Oscar nomination, and you don't need to. And it's like all these nominations throughout the entire production, which Margot Robbie, being a producer, could win possibly multiple Oscars or on there, or at least get it, and you're still crying about it? Like, Barbie got Best Picture nom. So what are we talking about here? How is this a snub? How is it Ken's world? Like, just stop it. Stop the complaining. Because what you said doesn't make any sense. She's up for an Oscar. Just because she didn't get it as Barbie does not change the fact that she's up for an Oscar, because this was still a lot of her energy, her juices, her hard work, her sweat, her tears, and more than just acting on it. She was a producer, and she would get recognized for that, which is awesome if she does. But I will say, Margot Robbie, I think she should have got it mainly for I, Tonya. That to me was like probably, I would say right now off the top of my head, her best performance. But I put it like this. If Avengers, which was the highest grossing movie, Iron Man, things like Across the Spider-Verse, Mutant Mayhem, etc., all of these landmark movies that made tons of money, some of the highest grossing movies in those years, cannot. I've noticed people are like, well, this was the highest grossing movie. Even the thing like Hillary said, like, it was the highest grossing movie. That's not what the Oscars are for. That's actually one of the many reasons why I think the Oscars are stupid and I don't care about them normally, because people went to go see this. That means this is where people's interest was. But a lot of times they want you to see these more obscure indie people because that's a real film. So, yeah. But just because that movie made like $1 billion does not mean that it needs to qualify for all of these things, yet it has a ton. I mean, Marvel has what? 2, 3 Oscars maybe in the MCU? And I'm talking about them. Sony has a couple. Like, so yeah. The fact that I'm seeing like Hillary, I'm seeing Stephen King keep saying stuff about, oh, it's men, and yet, because you're mad, but she's still up for an Oscar. So is Greta. That's the part that blows my mind. So just because they're not up for that specific Oscar, it's a travesty? So then should they throw it back if they win the other Oscar? Like, because it wasn't good enough? I mean, what do you want here? So can we please stop the stupid, broken patriarchy fake narrative? Because remember what they said in the movie, Ken will have equality one day. Am I right? So, yeah. Once again, can we please stop? But I'd like to hear what you say because of this whole weird patriarchy argument. Because they didn't get Best Director and Best Actress, yet they are still up for Oscars for Best Screenplay and Best Picture, which means they would still get an Oscar. Do you think it's a patriarchy travesty that these women did not also get these Oscar nominations, even though these are not their best directed or their best performed movie? Gig Protagonists, you stay safe, you stay healthy, you stay real. Love to hear your opinion. See ya.